And it's day 2 here at the racecourse in Doncaster, a beautiful day. It's pretty much Douglas Carswell day, really, because he gave a speech this morning at 10 o'clock. And, of course, this is a man of huge significance to the UK Independence Party because they had hoped to have many more MPs in the general election in May. That didn't happen. Douglas Carswell in Clacton in Essex is UKIP's only MP, a hugely important figure for the party. And his theme in the speech was optimism. He wants UKIP to radiate optimism in the up-and-coming referendum campaign. He's with me here now.
Hi.
Is UKIP an optimistic party? Is Nigel Farage an optimistic campaigner?
Absolutely. UKIP has managed to make a huge breakthrough because it offers not just acknowledgement of what people are concerned about, but real credible change. Change on Europe, change on immigration policy, but also on a whole range of other areas where we perhaps not yet developed policy. We're developing a credible alternative to make things better.
Optimism often sits alongside positivity as well. In the past, some have expressed concerns about Nigel Farage being a bit too much of an angry man when it comes to migration, when it comes to the campaigning style during the referendum. I mean, do you fear that perhaps Nigel needs to be more positive, more optimistic, less angry in his style?
The really, really important thing here is the referendum. That is, people here at the UKIP conference have spent 20 years campaigning for this referendum. What's really important is that we work with other people in other parties. I don't just have a residual loyalty to Eurosceptics in the Conservative Party. I have a newfound loyalty to Eurosceptics right across the political spectrum who want to leave the European Union. And by being generous and optimistic, we can reach out and build a winning coalition. If we do that, we'll be free from the EU. If we don't, we won't.
Now, you said in your speech, and this referendum is the raison d'etre for the UK Independence Party and many Eurosceptics like yourself, you said if you don't win, whenever it is, then all the efforts will be worthless. I mean, if you don't win, is that the end for UKIP?
Well, Jeremy Corbyn has come along and taken the Labour Party...
What about UKIP, not Jeremy Corbyn?
He's created a huge amount of space here. There are lots of people in constituencies like Doncaster who've traditionally voted Labour, who are fed up with the Labour Party, who frankly will see Corbyn as unelectable, who I think UKIP can appeal to. And I think there are going to be elections in Wales and in London next year, traditionally Labour's backyard, where I think UKIP can make some very significant gains. And I think that means that UKIP has a whole new lease of life. But we're only going to manage to displace the Labour Party if we have real, credible, optimistic policies, and we show that our values are in tune with those of the British people. We've got to be a generous party, a party for all Britons, first and second generation, as much as every other. We've got to be a party that is prepared to recognise, yes, there are shortcomings in this country, things that make us really frustrated, but we must never blame political outsiders for the failings of political insiders.
But life goes on for UKIP, is what you're saying.
There are lots of things about this country that need fixing. Our relationship with Europe is only part of it. We've got a corporatist banking system that needs fixing, an energy cartel that needs breaking. We need political reform too. Europe's just part of it.
OK. Can I just quickly ask you about some comments yesterday by Aaron Banks? He's a very important man to this party. He's a UKIP donor, given £1 million in the past, bankrolling part of the Leave.eu campaign. He made some rather distasteful comments about you, saying you thought you were autistic, had a mental illness. I mean, what did you think about that?
Look, politics can be a slightly rough trade. Sometimes you have to take what people say about you on the chin. Fortunately, I've got quite a big chin, and I can take it in my stride. It's not the end of the world. People sometimes say these things. What's important is that UKIP is not committed to any one campaign. UKIP's position very clearly...
Well, they are now, though, aren't they?
UKIP's position very clearly...
EU, aren't they?
UKIP's position is very clear. We will work with anyone who stands a good chance of getting designation. Now, we're here at a racecourse.
But you are committed to one campaign. I mean, Nigel committed the party to Leave.eu yesterday.
No, UKIP is very clearly open to working with anyone who gets designation. We're here at a racecourse. It would be daft before a race to put all your money in a two-horse race on one horse. Imagine if we were to work exclusively with one group and not the other, and the Electoral Commission was to give designation to the group that we weren't working with. We would have painted ourselves into a corner, and I think everyone in UKIP can see that and realise that that would be a mistake.
Okay,
we're open to working with everyone.
Just quickly and finally, the party's just selected its candidate for the London mayoral elections next year. It's Peter Whittle. It's not Suzanne Evans. Some had thought she's deputy chairwoman. She wrote the manifesto, very prominent figure. She wasn't selected. Some are surprised. What's wrong with Suzanne Evans?
Look, I'm not involved in these things. I think both Peter and Suzanne are fantastic. I think both of them will get a very high profile, and both of them represent a face of UKIP that we need to see more of. and I think it's incredibly encouraging that we've got such good candidates selected, and I'm looking forward to working with them.
All right, Douglas Carswell, UKIP's only MP for Clacton and Essex, thanks very much. Interesting there to hear him say, despite Nigel Farage nailing the flag of this party to the mast of this new campaign to leave the EU called Leave.eu yesterday, that Mr Carswell believes that for the time being this party is not committed to just one campaign and will continue, as he sees it, to work with anyone.
And there with Douglas Carswell. Let's